Hello everybody and welcome back to a Bishop Disc production. We are here for the course preview for March's Lefty meetup at OakCrest Cove in Sandwich, Massachusetts. I'm joined by my friend Andres Ripley.
What's up everyone?
Alright, I don't think Andres needs any introduction because he's on every video that we do, but here's Brian Harrington, who is one of the course designers here at OakCrest Grove and a member of Team Burgess. And then also on the card we got Spencer Shedd from Plimpton, Massachusetts, which is I think just off Cape, but he agreed to meet us down here.
And rounding out the card, of course, we have Sam Henderson, also always in a lot of the videos, so excited to see him throw at OakCrest.
Yeah, okay, so we're playing, of course, a weird format today. I had to make it as complicated as possible. We're going to do that same alternating partner doubles that we did in the first video, but we are also going to play Hollywood. And Hollywood means that you can go to either basket on the course, and if you go to the long one, you get a half a stroke off.
Exactly, so I think you are throwing first here. It's kind of a weird, like righty hyzer, I would say, but it's kind of like a straight righty hyzer to the long basket, and the shorter one's really close to the tee pad.
Yep. Speaking of righty hyzer, the thing about Brian Harrington is he is an amazing disc golfer righty. He just happens to be better lefty, which is kind of unfair. But he doesn't have a great first drive, but you're there to pick him up, kind of skipping the forehand over the hill.
Yeah, should be at circle's edge to the long one. You guys had a nice drive to the short basket, so you got an uphill 20-footer, nice putt.
Yeah, Spencer kind of threw that low buzz that just kind of skipped up to the top of the hill and fell into that little ravine, and we were able to make that putt.
My putt just hyzers out a little bit too much to the side, but I have Brian here to try to clean it up from 60 feet.
Yeah, you guys were only probably about 20 feet past us, but it just didn't make sense to putt to the short basket anymore, so
yeah.
An attempt at the long goes right off the top, and you guys are going to tap in for your 3 blue. So since we went to the short and got a 2, and you guys went to the long, got a 3, so it's 2 for Spencer and Sam, 2.5 for you guys.
Exactly. Coming on hole 2 here, it's a very unique hole. You can kind of see that it's a slight lefty pushing hyzer to the long basket, but the short basket you can see off the tee is only a little over 150 feet away with a lot of OB in the way.
Yeah, right. So Spencer just like throws an absolute missile.
Yeah, just barely missed the ace.
I think he's talking that he was going for the center gap, but almost crashed into the chains.
I think Brian's throwing one of his rhinos. He throws a lot of rhinos off the tee and in the fairway. You'll see him doing that a lot today.
Yeah, absolutely. So now you're going to throw a rock here.
Just pushed it a little too straight. It hit a tree, but it did not go into the OB, which is great. So we'll have options from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to try to throw a hyzer flip with my fuse, but it just kind of stands up and turns over. It does not get all the way down to the right, so we're going to end up taking your drive, I think, as mine found its way into the woods. Now we see our 5th card mate on the screen right there, Brian's dog, Allie. So, you know, we play with Dixie a lot, so we're used to having a dog on the card. It's always better with the dog.
Yeah, of course. Brian's pitch out leaves him with about a 40-footer. So I think Spencer, actually I think that was Spencer who went first.
Right.
To 40 feet.
Right, and then here you are lining up a pretty scary looking, 35-footer.
Yeah.
I was not confident that I would make this putt. I was thinking, you know, maybe I'm going to go to blue from here.
It's not a bad call with all the OB, but it felt good out of my hands.
Yeah, it's even better when you make it. Just crushes that putt through a tiny little window. That was a great putt.
Yeah, it felt really good. Spencer just off the top of the basket here to about 15 long. Let's see if Brian's actually a phenomenal putter, so let's see if he can knock this one down.
Yeah, I love watching his putt. There's so little happening. It's just such a simple putt.
It's so effortless. Unfortunately couldn't connect there, and they'll be taking the 4 blue.
Yep, 4 blue. So we're going to get a 2 for Sam and Andres, and then 3.5 for Brian and Spencer. So, you know, thanks to my partner, I've got a little bit of a lead early in here.
So coming into hole 3, which is actually a really fun shot shape in my opinion. To the long, it's a par 4, kind of like this S-line fairway that you'll see in a little bit. And then to the short basket, it's kind of like a righty hyzer about 300 feet. Yeah,
this is one of my favorite kind of hole designs for playing Hollywood, where you can get the 2 to the short basket, but you got to throw an excellent shot. And if your shot isn't quite perfect, then you have a tough upshot to the longer basket, or like an easy 3 to the short, and you got to make a decision direction of where you're going to go.
Exactly. It looks like you and Brian are kind of in the middle of the fairway, not really too close to the short, but not a terrible shot to the long basket either.
Nope. Spencer's throwing this yellow gold line vision. You'll see him throw that a ton.
Yep.
Very nice old disc.
So I'm lining up my G-Star Thunderbird here. Put it a little too high, got a little bit of turn on it, but I wanted it a little bit lower to be in the middle.
Right, but nice kick, yeah. Now Brian's going to go for the long basket. We don't want to settle for the shorty, but he clips that left side. That leaves me the decision. We can get the easy 3 to white, or we can go for the tougher 3 blue, and obviously we're going to go for 3 blue.
Of course, and you actually had a phenomenal shot. Right down the fairway, slight kick off the bottom of a tree to like 20 feet maybe.
Right. That's the trust that I've just been loving.
And I tried to go with my envy here, but left it 2 inside, and again, only 100 feet or so to the long basket. But I think Spencer wanted to go for the short and just threw it over the top of it.
Yeah, it's a good play if you're not confident. You know, there's a lot of half-stroke decisions right there.
Yep. And I was happy with our 3 on that hole.
Yep.
And that pulls the putt a little bit. So kind of a pressure putt here for Brian to secure the 3 blue.
Cash.
And of course, great putt by Brian. That's a good half stroke that you guys gained on us there.
Yep. So again, riding my partner's drive and extending my lead. I've got a stroke on you and 2 on Brian and Spencer early, after we've played 1 round of everybody's been on everybody's team so far.
Exactly. This is actually a great Hollywood hole 4. The baskets are closer than they appear on that drawing there. You can either throw a short straight righty backhand to the short one, or a little lefty backhand that flips up to the long one. So if you hit early, you have plenty of options.
Yeah, I think we teed off a little further up the fairway just because there was a bunch of ice on the pad. That's the one thing about this course. It's still pretty new, and there's not tee pads on every hole. But, for meetup, we're going to have, nice, clean teeing areas, so we won't have to worry about that on Saturday.
Exactly.
And you're going with a nice Team Stamp rock.
Yeah, I love this disc. Just added it to the bag, and it feels really clean out of the hand there. And it kind of came in a little early, but still fought through some stuff.
Yeah, Brian was talking about how he had just cleared that area up, how it had been a big bush. But he cleared it up, so you guys are going to have a putt as he throws his Rhino right off that middle tree.
Yeah, so it looks like you had a great drive to about 15 feet, so that's an easy tap in for 2 blue, and I'm also about 15 feet for me and Brian's 2 blue.
Yeah, you can see the brush pile behind. There are just so many trees and stuff off the fairway. Yeah. Like the fact that they did all this work to carve the course out of nothing is just really incredible.
So hole 5 here, we got a really big downhill par 3 to blue, and to shorts, as you'll see Sam throw here, it's a great flex forehand as a lefty.
Yeah, for sure. And this, when you're coming on this direction in the course, this course is called OakCrest Grove, and there is a little lake down in the bottom corner near the parking lot, and the wind always comes right off. And when we're throwing this way, we're going to have headwinds, and you can watch Spencer's disc just get turned up and over. Yeah,
he's on the fairway, I think, 3 holes ahead of us, which is pretty funny. And Brian throws kind of like a sky shot that just fades out a little to the right. They'll have an 80-footer maybe to shorts.
Yeah, I think they got pushed up and over. I'm not sure exactly where he's going. He throws that glow turn, which is a great disc, but can kind of get handled by the wind. Now, I thought they were going to go maybe try to throw an approach, because I thought they were going to be too far to kind of actually run this putt, but
Brian, man,
they weren't.
That man just can putt from anywhere.
Yeah, cashes it right in the heart.
But to not be big putted, great putt, Sam. So everyone's taking a 2 to the silver basket on that.
Right, just easy 2s. So 10 for me, 11 for Andres, 12 for Brian and Spencer.
We got a battle.
Yep.
Hole 6 is coming back up the hill now. You'll see that there's a pretty straight shot to the shorts. It says 226, but probably plays more like 326, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. It said, what, plus 12 feet on the sign? I think that's a little more than 12 feet.
I would say so. And the long one is kind of... Most righties who have 450 feet of power can throw a pushing hyzer up there to long.
That's an absolute blast. And not only is it far uphill, but then you kind of got this tunnel. This is not an easy shot.
Not at all. So you and Brian had great drives as partners. So let's see what Spencer and I can do.
Yeah, Brian almost aced it. He was throwing Discmania Origin and practically put it in the bucket. I went with a fairway driver. It looked like Spencer went with a fairway driver. What did you throw?
I also threw my fairway driver there, my Thunderbird. And unfortunately, Spencer and I hit a little early, so we're going to go to long. I'm just throwing a flex forehand with my zone. Puts us to about 15 feet.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, so Spencer is going to try to just run it in Not quite there. Now we are absolutely parked, so Brian is going to throw a little Hail Mary down to blue and tickle the chains.
I can't. This man is just ridiculous. He's always on target.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, that's what happens when you have a simple motion. There's not a lot of room for error. I mean, if you keep it simple, you can't aim small, miss small, right?
Exactly. So that's an easy tap in for you guys to get your 2 to silver. Spencer just left it a little high on the putt there, but I'm going to see if I can clean up this 15-footer.
Yeah, Spencer struggled a little bit on the front 9. I think, you know, playing with some different pros and being on camera. I'm not sure he's been on camera before, so he had some putting struggles, but he definitely turns it around late in the match.
Yeah. And then this is actually another really fun hole. You have the short basket, which is a dead straight 220-foot shot, and then the long basket to blue is kind of a big lefty turnover, probably with a fairway or a mid-range, depending on what the wind's doing.
Yeah, Brian said when he was designing this course, he was trying to think of pros in the area and trying to make shots to fit that throw. And he said that he had me in mind when he designed it, which is probably the greatest compliment I've ever received in my entire life. My shot this time went a little too far and into the woods, but now are you going to blue here? Looks like that forehand just kind of skittered down.
It did, but again, great thing about Hollywood is it went down, but we had Brian and I had a close one to silver, so he went to blue just to run it, but then I tapped it in on silver for our 2 silver.
He's a very trusting partner. When you get like that windy 20-footer, he's like, oh, you're definitely going to make this. I'm going to throw a Hail Mary. It's like, you know, what's the bigger chance that you make the 120-footer or that I miss a 20-footer?
That's true. You got to think about that sometimes in Hollywood. So you guys are tapping in, it looks like you're 3 to blue, and we got a 2 to silver there.
Yep, so you guys picked up a half stroke on us.
All kinds of score combinations here. You really can see the spread. It's still pretty close at this point through 7 holes.
Right, but it's easy to go, you know, stroke and a half one way or the other. This is hole 8. Now, Brian's going to throw a righty hyzer kind of straight, and you really want to push the disc straight and then have it break left at the end.
Yeah, I think he's going to be in circle 2, and Spencer tries to follow it up and just kind of grip locked it into the wood.
Yeah, I think he might have been throwing the short basket as a chip little lefty hyzer.
You're throwing this flex forehand with a giant, right?
Yeah, that's right, and it got over it just a little bit much. You really just want to push it straight through that gap.
And I'm going to the short basket with my Envy, and it just leaked out a little early. Should give us about a 40-footer, though. Yeah,
so as a team, we decided I would throw the upshot and actually throw it pretty poorly. So we are still, I think, 35 or 40. I think Brian's telling us it's just short of his drive.
And I stepped up and just confidently hit that 40-footer. Everything was feeling good with the putt.
That was an amazing putt. Just dropped in at the last second. And I continue to ride my hot partner's hand.
Oh, Brian hyzer's out a little early.
I think this is what happened with you when we were playing at Hawkins Woods. Whoever your partner was killing it.
Oh, for sure.
I'm getting that love so far today.
So this is, I think, probably the hardest hole in terms of going to the shorts. You can see that the short basket is 477 feet away. It's, again, when you play it along, it's this S-shaped fairway par 4 where you really got to hit this gap off the tee and have it pan to the left.
Yeah, this tee shot is, I'd say, one of the hardest lefty tee shots because you have to push it, like maybe 280 feet before turning hard left. Like, that's really rough.
Yeah, and I just, like you said, I turned it a little too early. I think the forehand's probably the better play, as you just showed there perfectly with your forehand.
For sure, and I was really surprised that Brian went with the lefty backhand on this one, kind of leaks it out right. Afterwards, though, he threw a funsy, and he must have thrown it 500 feet. It was absolutely bonkers.
So Spencer hits early, and so I'm going to try to throw my T-bird on a turnover line to follow the fairway, and thought I actually hit it pretty well, but just hit one of the trees and kicked off to the right a little bit.
Yeah, you know, I love this course. It has really clean fairways or clean lines, and not too many trees in the fairway. This is one of the few that, you know, there's actually some trees in the fairway, but I think it's a really fair course. I'm really loving this place.
I would agree. So I think, are you going to short here on your approach?
Yeah, I just wasn't.
Oh my God.
I wasn't feeling confident that we could get all the way down there. It is way down the hill. That is such a tough approach. So I thought I'd maybe just like, I don't know, chuck it in.
And you basically did. Just barely missed it. So Spencer and I are trying to get up and down for a 4 to shorts, and I throw just another flex zone forehand that puts us to just about 15-20 feet. Yeah,
for sure. We thought we were going to take Brian's because he thought it was a really good shot. It ended up catching some of the shrubbery. I think I don't think you'd go to the long one too often unless it gets a little cleaned up.
It's tough, man.
You'd have to have an absolutely amazing drive to have a good angle to get all the way down there, and it's steep downhill. It's just like, it's an amazing basket location, but in this format, maybe you wouldn't use it so often.
Agreed. So yeah, it looks like you guys got a full stroke on us on that hole.
Yep. So that brings my lead to 2 over you and Brian, and now we're on hole 10.
Such a fun hole. You have a straight ace run at the silver basket right there that you can see, and then the par 4 goes way up the hill to the left. It's a pretty difficult hole for the par 4.
Yep, so naturally I'm going to shank it into the woods. But here comes my hero and rescuer, Spencer, who almost aces it.
Great shot, Spencer.
Now, one thing we should mention about this hole and a couple times on the course is you go right by the parking lot. I think you go right next to the parking lot on, obviously hole 1, but then hole 6, and then hole 10, and then hole 16. So if you need a drink, you need to put your coat away, you forgot a disc and you need to go grab one from your car. Like, it's such great design that you are constantly right near the parking lot.
Agreed.
So
I threw it into that small pine that you really have to miss, and then looking to my partner here, I think he's throwing a rhino off the tee and perfect shot.
Yeah, absolutely parked. So Spencer with his killer drive just taps in, easy birdie.
Nice job.
And then Brian's going to use his beer as a marker. It's a pro move.
Don't spill it. Don't spill it.
Oh, come on. Well, he's going to tap in and then turn to the camera and ask us to delete the footage, which obviously I was not going to do. And that brings us to hole 11, which is a little shorty. Normally when you play hole 10, if the other basket position is way up the hill. So the tough part about this hole, it might be easy, but you're almost out of breath.
Yeah, it's quite the hike up the hill. And yeah, you got ace runs to either the blue basket like you just showed there, or a straighter ace run to the silver, which I tried to do thinking that you were parked and just pulled it a little bit to the left and it never hyzered back.
Yeah, the terrain on this course is so crazy because, the other course on the Cape, Burgess Park, is super duper flat. You can play like 7 rounds in a day and barely break a sweat.
Yep.
But OakCrest is totally different. You are getting a workout coming up and down these hills.
Definitely. I think they used the elevation really well. I think they carved out the different hole shot shapes and everything and used the space in a really nice way.
Yeah, and it's not like you are intentionally just throwing up and down and up and down. It's like nice sections. There are a couple up and downs, but there's some kind of playing along the side. Really can't say enough awesome things about this course. I've already been there, I think, 3 times in the last 2 weeks because I just keep wanting to go down and play it.
It's great. So yeah, it looks like everyone gets 2 blues there. Sam hit a nice headwind putt from 20 feet, which we thought was a little closer, but glad it went in.
Yeah, it barely kind of got over the rim. Now this is another one that plays right into that headwind, because when I let this go, I thought it was going to be hyzering way out to the right, and it still managed to flip up and get pretty far down there.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite hole on the course. It's a relatively flat par 4 to the longs that really requires a pump off the tee, and it looks like Brian had the right idea, but I think the headwind just turned the disc over a little too much.
Yeah, he's throwing that glow turn again, and just gets a little bit over. So here comes Spencer throwing that vision, and it's going to meet the same fate. Just over to the left. If you want to really drive this way down the fairway, you got to start it on the right and then kind of have it flip into the fat part of the fairway, as you are demonstrating. That's absolutely gorgeous.
Exactly what I wanted to do after seeing those past 2 drives.
That is an absolute smash. That was way down there.
But it shows that if you're just playing the silver layout, I had a pretty good drive, and I'm still about 60 short of the silver basket.
Yeah, I getting all the way there would be an absolutely disgusting shot. Now I threw truss down this awesome little fairway gap that we had, all basically pin high, so Brian's going to try to throw it, but his mid-range or putter just kind of gets taken over right by the wind and pushed off the fairway.
Yep, Spencer throws it a little too low, but still gives us about a 40-footer. So I step up with my Luna, and I thought it was going to hyzer out too early, but again, the wind just kind of kept it pushing straight on the hyzer angle, and we have pretty much a tap-in.
Yeah. Oh! Yes.
Great catch.
Backside slide. I would have liked to see Spencer throw a little bit better of an upshot, so you might have had the chance to try to take that 2-putt.
I wanted it.
But you know what? The 3 blue on this hole is still an excellent score.
Definitely is.
All right, that brings us to hole 13. This hole is dedicated to Matt Medeiros, aka Doc, who was a lefty and passed away a couple years ago on the Cape. So I'll definitely be thinking of him as we're playing the round this week.
Definitely.
So here's hole 13. Now this is the similar direction, so we're going to be thrown into that headwind again. I thought I flipped up my St. Pro nicely, but it just kind of bent it right over to the left and hit a tree, but ended up pretty close to the basket.
Yeah, and I'm reaching for my rock here, and thought I threw it really well, but again, the headwind just pushed it more left than I thought it would.
Right, so we were reaching for mid-ranges, and Brian, who of course is one of the course designers, is smart enough to stable up to kind of a middle stability fairway driver and throws it low through the wind and gets it right up into the circle.
That was an awesome shot. So it looks like you and Spencer have some decisions to make, and you just step right up to the silver one and knock down a 35-footer. That's a great putt.
Yeah, and then you're got probably a similar distance, a little straddle, maybe a little bit downhill, and you're also right in the heart.
Yeah, just rode the wind right into the basket.
So after being up for 2 strokes for a bunch of holes in a row, you and Brian get a half stroke on Spencer and I. And that brings us to hole 14. Hole 14 is a bomber. You got to go up and over this initial little hill that has some tree guardians, and if you hit the trees, you're going to fall down into this OB ravine. So you got to get over that. That's number 1. Brian clears it, but his just kind of turns over and ends up on the left side of the fairway.
See what Spencer can do here, reaching for one of his drivers, and he throws it perfectly. Beautiful turn on it, misses all the trees in the world basically, and puts it right in the circle for silver.
Yeah, this is an absolute blast. I mean, you can't really see where it is from the tee pad. You just gotta like chuck it and pray, but we definitely could tell that was gonna be a great shot.
Yeah, and then I'm going with my Wraith here and just let it go a little too early and goes way off to the right.
Yeah, so I'm going to throw a little more hyzer down the left side. My disc flips over just a little bit, but gets a nice little kick that I called for back into the fairway. It's going to leave us, maybe 80 short. So I'm going to try to throw the up shot and give us a chance for a 3 blue, but wasn't very good. So that gives you a decision to make whether you want to be a good teammate or just kind of run this putt.
I decided to not be a good teammate, and I ran the putt and put us under the basket.
I think that is the good teammate. I think
agree.
the bad teammate position would be just to throw a Hail Mary. Brian's kind of putting a lot of trust into Spencer by throwing this way down at blue. And he lands right next to it, but gives Spencer the chance for the solo 2 silver, which is just nuts. That's such
insane.
a great drive.
Nice job, Spencer.
Yeah, probably one of the highlight plays of the round.
For sure. So with 4 holes left, again, we still got a battle here. It's anyone's game at this point.
Yeah, Brian and I are going to be on the team for the next hole, but you are lurking just a stroke and a half back of me, and I think, maybe only half stroke behind Brian?
Yeah, I think so. And again, a very unique hole we have. You're throwing down this ravine here with OB lining both sides of the fairway. The silver basket's at the bottom, but then it kind of comes back up just a little bit to the long basket.
Yeah, I think of this hole in my head as a lot like hole 10 at Pyramids. You're going straight down the hill, straight flight. So
Definitely.
Spencer's going to leak out a little bit right. He manages to keep it in bounds and fights through a lot of the trees and has a circle 2 look.
And I just pulled mine here and hit a tree and actually did go out of bounds. So we were forced to take Spencer's lie, which actually, like you said, Sam, was not all that bad.
Yep, he puts it under the pin, giving you the green light.
Just outside the circle here and cashed it.
Your favorite putt, just outside the circle.
Of course. Give me that 34-footer, please.
Yep, all day.
So we knocked that in for our 2 silver, and it looks like you guys have a similar distance for your putt.
Yeah, we're closer. We're maybe 25, 28, but we're in this little ravine that's got a little bit tricky wind, but nothing that we shouldn't be able to make the putt.
Oof.
But we are both just off, and that's going to really tighten the matchup. Now we got a 3-way battle. It's I think I got a half stroke on you and Brian, and what was a comfortable cruise and lead is shortened up pretty quick.
Exactly. Let's see if Brian and I can take advantage as partners on hole 16 here. You got quite an interesting shot shape again. You have a straight lefty forehand to the short one at about 280 or so, and then the long one goes way up and to the left.
Yep, so Spencer's going to throw a buzz and just let the wind kind of push it to the left. He was off the fairway a little bit, but just misses all the trees and ends up being a really great shot into the circle.
Looks like you're going to throw your giant here again to fight the wind, and a nice flex shot.
Yeah, I thought it was great, but it went probably 40 past the basket, which is kind of an awkward spot. We're not really close enough to putt, but a little, kind of far for an upshot too.
Yeah, and I threw my Halo Wraith on a forehand that hit a couple trees, but put us also to about circle's edge.
All right, Brian's going to go for the mega smash, trying to have the wind push him to the left. It just never quite does as he tried to go all the way up the hill.
So we got a strong tailwind. Anheuser 35-footer or so, I would say. And
Yep, with the dog at your feet.
did not work out for me. I just didn't put enough ante on it and hit the tree in our way.
Yep, so now Brian's got this one to get the 2.
Come on, Brian.
But
Ooh,
a little bit low.
that's that tailwind, man. It just pushed it right down out of the air.
Yep, and then it got even breezier as I'm stepping up to putt. You can see all the leaves kind of going crazy. And I just pushed it off weak side chains right off the pole and out.
So let's see if Spencer can help you out here. And of course, Spencer, stabbing me in the back.
The Andres killer.
It's a great putt, in all seriousness.
Oh, you can hear you on the background yelling at him.
So that actually extends your lead now to what, 2 over? I think Brian and I?
Yeah, I think it brings it to 1.5. That was a big stroke.
Yeah, much needed. Yep, you're right. 1.5 over Brian and I, and Spencer's only half a stroke behind us. So again, it's still a close battle with 2 holes left.
All right, and now that there's only 2 holes left, and you're going to be my partner on one, and Brian's going to be my partner on the other, I got a pretty good lock on the lead. So.
Yep. And it looks like Spencer's just throwing a turnover forehand and into the headwind. It just was never going to fight out of that.
Yep. So Brian's going to go righty backhand and swing a hyzer and makes it just over the gully. There's that OB ravine that was present on a couple holes ago. Runs right down the hill.
Looks like you're going to throw, I think, your fuse on a turnover backhand shot, which out of your hand we were all like, that's a great shot. It misses all the trees.
Parked it
right past the basket, but you're out of bounds.
I still can't believe that's out of bounds.
Less than 8 feet from the basket.
Yeah, it was not cool. So here you go, going NV up the left side. There's that little gap.
Felt great, and I just put it basically in between the 2 baskets, so we have some options there.
Yeah, for sure. Great shot. Yeah, I don't know. When I step up that downhill kind of straight shot with the hyzer finish, I don't know. It just doesn't really appeal to me.
The turnover, I definitely, and you throw it really well, so I don't blame you for choosing that shot.
All right, here's Brian from 20-something.
Of course.
Right on the bottom of the chains, and then we are right between the baskets, so that makes it an easy decision to go along. But what would you do if you were 5 feet closer to white and 5 feet further for blue? How about another 10 feet closer? At what point in that decision-making process do you just take the dunk for the easy 2 silver?
Mm-hmm. So coming into hole 18 here, Sam's got a 1.5 stroke lead over me. We got a par 4 to both the silver and the blue baskets. The shot shape is very unique, where you're going kind of straight and down to the left, but I think it's actually, in a non-windy situation, a better big lefty turnover backhand than it is a righty hyzer.
Yeah, for sure. This is such an epic finishing hole, and I think there are going to be lots of great league or tournament rounds that are decided by big swings on this one, so
sure.
Nothing's over till this one's over. And the kind of lake that we talk about is down to the left, so that wind is going left to right, kind of pushing up the hill. And if you get your nose of the disc exposed, it can really punish it.
Exactly, which I think you throwing the forehand was smarter in the wind scenario, and it put you right in the middle of the fairway halfway up.
Yeah, but look at this absolutely coasting Anheuser by Spencer with his vision. Just kind of holds and turns forever. And once you get going back down the hill, now this is your flippy wraith, and you look like you're not meaning to be outdone. That was way down there.
Yeah, it was a good throw. Harder to see than his shot, but both were pretty good drives. Looks like you guys are going to longs here, and I think out of his hand, Brian thought he hit it perfectly, but then the wind just kind of pushed it a little too right into one of the trees.
Yep. I got some funky footing, but I'm also going to try to go to the long basket and just catch that outside of the tree.
So it looks like, Spencer and I have some options here. I think he's going to go to shorts first and just kind of turn it over a little too much and leave us with about a 40-footer to shorts. So I decided to line up with my overstable Firebird and kind of let it leak out a little too early, but it fought through that pine tree branch and put us to about circle's edge on the long basket for 3.
Yeah, I think we're in the gully that would be normally out of bounds. They just haven't marked it yet, so it's still in.
Great run.
We're just going to try to put them in to kind of cap off the round.
Brian's shot I thought was going to hyzer out, and of course, Brian, knowing his disc more than I,
Yep.
almost cashes it.
Moon shot off the rim. That was a crazy putt.
Ooh, just a little short there for Spencer, so I'm going to also line up about a 35-footer and just hold it a little too much to the left.
Yep, so that's all she wrote for our little doubles round. I had a blast. I love playing the alternating partner doubles, and I love playing Hollywood, so that was maybe a little confusing round at the start, but I had a blast.
A lot of fun for sure. And it looks like Sam takes it down with 40.5. I came in second with 42, and then Brian and Spencer pull up the rear there.
Yeah, this is what they look on UDisc, but the main purpose of this video is to invite everybody for our meetup on Saturday morning. We're going to meet up at 10 a.m. here at the course down in Sandwich, Mass. You know, it's free to play. All skill levels are welcome. So if you're available and you throw with your left hand, we'd love to see you out there.
Hope to see you there.
All right, peace.